It's here, ladies and gentlemen. AI fully featured films are now on the way. And it's starting with this one, Dreams of Violets, from Jill Goldsmith, writing about it from Deadline. She's not making it, but she's writing about it. AI-generated drama, Dreams of Violets. I apologize, Paul. Drama, Dreams of Violets, to premiere at Tribeca Festival. Here's what it says. Dreams of Violets, a feature-length narrative film completely generated by AI. In other words, there is nothing here, not a single part of this movie comes from anything other than generated AI. Will screen at the Tribeca Festival June 10th. Produced and directed by first-time filmmakers and tech entrepreneur bros Ash and Puya Kusha, the film is a fictional dramatization of events around the massacre that happened in Iran. I'm going to be careful there for YouTube algorithm reasons. Last January, international organizations have put the toll of loss of life at north of 7,000 as protests and state crackdowns unfolded amid a communications blackout. Every image and person in the film is generated using AI video tools and based on journalistic reports, photographs, and eyewitness accounts, the announcement said. The film is the first project from the Kusha's new AI-driven Prodco. Fountain O former top NBC executive Tom Rogers is executive chairman of the startup and an EP executive producer on the film. Quote, this is a very personal story to us, having experienced brutality in Iran. The brutality that came about as a result of the January protests hit a real nerve. We wanted our first Fountain O film to be dedicated to something that we felt the world needed to know more about and understand the human toll of far better. There has been extremely little firsthand journalism on these events, and the internet has been shut down. Now, this is the kind of story that I dare say I don't think Hollywood would have much interest in pursuing right now. But wouldn't you know it, this film, which would be exceedingly difficult to make otherwise without AI, is getting downvoted with a ratio from the general public. And it's a funny number here, 666 downvotes versus 193 upvotes, 33,000 total views. We'll see what happens after it does its premiere. This is the trailer, and I'll play just a brief part of it. None of us know the rules when it comes to this stuff at all. Like, I don't know the rules. I'm not going to play the audio because I think the music may be copyrighted for it. But you can see it is photorealistic, and it is about what happened in Iran, and they've worked very hard to make it photorealistic to Tehran in a way that I think would just about be impossible unless you had hundreds of millions of dollars for your budget. Now, we're going to pause it there because it features violence even in the trailer, and it features firearms and things that if we play it, YouTube will get mad at us, and I don't want to have a fight for my channel. So we're savvy enough to know how this works. But the trailer, folks, we recommend you go check it out. And panel, I'm curious your thoughts on this. Culture, we'll start with you. And what do you think about the idea that we're now making full-blown, full-feature films completely out of AI, and then also the public backlash to it? Is it fair? Is this one of those exceptions where maybe there's an argument this was the only way to make it?
Yeah, I don't think you could have done what they did any other way. I mean, again, depicting the violent acts that took place in Iran by their very own government against the people, the citizenry there. I don't think you could do this any other way. My argument is this is actually the proving ground for AI going forward and what all else will be compared to. They had to use a smattering of tools, I believe 5 or 6 different AI tools in order for this to even be possible. And it took them a very small amount of money in a very short period of time. And they completed a full story breaking down essentially in a documentary style what was going on in the country at a time when we didn't have any true insight into it. So it's a gathering of accounts and a screen production that I think the fact that it got entry into a film festival to give you insight into what was happening in Tehran, to be fair, a 75-minute film that took them, 2 months. I'm sorry, that's impressive. And again, this is a ground-up effort by 2 brothers, so congratulations to them.
And yet at the same time, Paul, there's a backlash to this. There's a huge movement against AI in the arts. I don't sense that movement in the biotech industry. I think people want medicines that if we can research medication faster and faster with AI, people seem to be happy with that. But in the arts specifically, a lot of mistrust and a lot of anger and people feeling like this is going to displace them out of jobs, and I think it probably will. Paul, what's your read on this? And do you think that this will fall flat, or is this the beginning of a huge surge of this kind of stuff?
Well, I can't comment on the success or failure of this particular film. I think it did really badly amongst the Iranian critics. The IRGC gave it thumbs down.
At least 600 of them, Paul.
Yes. Okay. So first of all, there's no stopping this. So part of this is, are we just going to get plain used to it?
Yes.
And we will. There is no doubt that we will get used to it just because of the sheer volume of it. We're going to be bludgeoned with it. And out of that are going to be good stories. That what gives this particular trailer a leg up is that it's not portraying existing actors that are recognizable. It's not portraying existing IP. Every young person who asks me about doing something on YouTube, I tell them, number one, don't use your own money. Number two, make up your own stuff. Stop trying to work with existing IP because you're not going to own it. Make up your own IP. So between those two things, and the people in this movie are of a faraway ethnicity, unless you're in London, England, it feels okay. My main problem is, and this is what I learned from doing my I'm a cadaver video, is that
which is my favorite.
Thank you. Which making something using AI gives it a certain taint. So right now, that people don't like. It provides a certain amount of inauthenticity that everyone can recognize. It's a function of, can that disappear, or will people get used to it? That I don't know.
The timing to me is interesting, because if we look at how far we've come, I'll try to get the clip. I didn't have this ready, and I should have, of Will Smith eating the spaghetti, and we all know what that is, but we'll play it just so we make sure we've got it for everybody to see. In 3 years, how far we've come is just mind-boggling. And I think about, well, if we make that kind of leap in 3 years, I've got this now. Hang on a second.
The mere fact that we've been able to go down from 6 fingers to 5, I think, is impressive.
So this is the video, and you can see AI video 1 year ago, and it's going to show you. This is why in 2023, when this came out, Hollywood looked at it and said, we have nothing to fear.
Right.
Nothing. This is nowhere even close. And you all can see this is what AI video gen looked like. But we're moving on exponentials now, right? And by the way, it says AI video now. This is actually old. The AI video now is so much better that it's ridiculous. This is actually really old. People, they were impressed with this. This is so fun that we were impressed with this a year ago or 2 years ago. So now it's just, we've come so far. I'll get an updated one. But if we make those kinds of leaps, I don't know that we can discern what's AI and what's not in 2 years. And I think also...
Because they won't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the issue. I've been writing a book, actually, and I thought, okay, what can I use AI for? And what's interesting is that whenever I have a conversation with it, it generally throws back cliches that exist. But being a creative person, it'll throw up a bunch of cliches that I didn't think of. And out of those, I go, oh, I can now rewrite this idea through my lens and my sense of humor and here's the updated version. That's much better. That's interesting. It's going to be this is going to be the test.
Right. Here's 2026.
Yeah. Can he eat spaghetti realistically? And they're just going to update this every single year. Will Smith spaghetti test. That looks good.
I'd eat that spaghetti.
Well, it's a little not quite al dente, but yeah, it's okay.
So as we look at this, the budget that they spent on this Dreams of Violets is $2,000.
Wow. Yeah. So now we're getting into the desktop publishing realm, where back in the day, my day, you had copy. You would buy copy at $25 an inch. And then the laser printer came out and you could do an entire page for 25 cents.
Right.
Not just one tiny inch of copy. So while the quality difference was huge, the price difference was so much greater that people just accepted laser printed output because the delta was way too great to not make use of it. That's what's going to happen with AI movies. The delta is going to be way too big.
Right.
$10 million, $2,000. How do you branch jump that gap?
Right. So now, if it costs $2,000 today, this is what's crazy, because not only is it becoming more impressive, but it's actually getting cheaper, more impressive. So it'll cost $1,000 next year, and it'll look twice as good or 4 times as good because it's actually operating on a super exponential. So now, if that's the case, theaters are going to be desperate to get the best storytellers to give them movies, and I think either the distributors jump on as fast as they can with the YouTubers who are winning at the box office right now, or the content creators are just going to bypass the distributors altogether and go straight to AMC, go straight to Regal and say, here's the film. I've spent $1,000. It's better than anything you've ever seen before. Put it in your theaters. And if it makes 10 million, I mean, I can't even run the math that fast on what kind of a return on investment it is, but it's astronomical. It's unlike anything we've ever seen before, on what you could get. Nat, I think this is happening next year. Like, I think by next year, this is getting into mainstream. What say you? Am I too optimistic or pessimistic, depending on how you view it?
Well, I don't know. You, as many of you here know, I'm not a huge fan of AI, and I do criticize it. And I started thinking as you all were talking about what is art? Is art the fact that it's being made by a human, or is art just a concept and we can decide what is art and it's up to the viewer? And so that got me into a loop of philosophical exploration. But then on the comparison with the YouTubers, for example, that are now smashing box offices all of a sudden, and people are surprised, but they've been training themselves for who knows how long, and been training themselves in a way to be even more efficient. And Hollywood has now become this money printing making machine. They don't even know what to do with that money, and they waste, in my opinion, at least most of it. With AI, there's a difference, I think, because especially with the younger generations, they might be getting sick and tired of it already. Maybe because I see a lot of conversation around YouTube and AI slop and being able to or not being able to have to see AI all the time on social media, and being very different from CGI, for example, because I do remember there was a backlash against CGI as well, and people saying, well, computer generated images, or we shouldn't have this isn't filmmaking. This is there's something different. We shouldn't consider this even for awards or putting it in movies, or thinking that this is such a great thing. But now we see it completely differently. However,
and in all fairness, Nat, it destroyed traditional animation. So exactly. It did. But so there are pluses and minuses.
But we didn't have this impact of CGI slop 24/7 on our phones, on our feeds, on any video we click on YouTube. We were not sure what kind of video it's going to be, if it was made by a human or not. And I know there's some YouTube is trying to kind of mitigate that a little bit, but at the same time angering the other side that does like it. So I do see a difference there with how saturated we've become with AI already, that I don't know how general audiences, and especially the younger people that are now trying to go back to the binary era where everybody's getting dumb phones and going back to older computers, and this fascination with the 90s, for example, and the 80s. I don't know how it will be received by them, because they've been confronted with it 24/7 for the past few years already.
Well, there's 2 points real quick I'd like to make. I think you're on the money here, because it's easy for people to think, well, you're either just for AI or you're against it. But the way I see this is, if AI is a tool that helps people and storytellers do more storytelling and defeat the gatekeeping system of Hollywood, that's a great thing. If we eradicate humans from storytelling and from being in entertainment, that's stupid. And that's self-annihilation. So I'm not at all in favor of that. But the other thing about this, beyond those 2 points, is that I don't see, like Paul was saying, I don't see a way around what's coming, because the U.S. and China are in a race, and the U.S. has to win, right? I mean, it just has to win. in the sense of winning the race to artificial superintelligence. It's such a huge thing. And so neither side's going to back down from this. And sort of the rippling out of that race is this entertainment thing that's secondary, tertiary to what the governments and what the industry is up to, right? With the data centers and everything. The entertainment side of this, I think, helps monetize and sustain that push, this massive push that's going to happen towards artificial superintelligence. And we can all debate Skynet and is it good, is it bad, does it bring forth the age of abundance and all that sort of thing. It seems to me right now that the proponents of AI have done a tremendously awful job of selling this to the public. I think most people are very skeptical of whether it's good or bad. I think what's helping this movie, and I'd love to hear from the rest of the panel on it, I think the fact that it's about this atrocity that happened in Tehran, I think that it depicts Tehran in a way that might not be possible otherwise, especially for any kind of fair budget. I think this is the right kind of film if you wanted to make headway into gaining public support. But I don't know what you guys think about it.
Did you see Persepolis?
I did not.
Fantastic animation. I would say if this is the way they want to go, then make it animated. Make it look like rotoscope human.
Oh, that's a good point.
And don't try to make it human, real human. I mean, we'll accept animation, and animation can be extremely emotional, as we know. I think the drive towards realism is a problem because it just, it has this uncanny valley aspect to it.
Walk me through that real quick, Paul. Let me see if we can figure out where we are on it together. So I agree with you. Like if I would prefer human actors 100 times over. What if it's human actors, but the rest of it's AI, the backgrounds, what makes it look like Tehran? Does that have an inauthenticity, you think?
I think that helps a lot. Obviously, we're green screening backgrounds of different. Even if you watch, what's the name of the dog?
Crypto?
Wishbone. If you watch Wishbone, you'll see an awful lot of green screening in there where they're adding crowds into the background, even in that fantastic show Wishbone, which someone needs to resurrect, to tell you the truth. And backgrounds are, you're walking on a green screen, but you're in red square. That stuff has been done for, I don't know, a decade or more. So I don't have a problem with real actors. And I don't even necessarily have a problem with the fact that, I don't know if you've used AI, but you can put real actors' photographs and short clips of real actors into your clip library and say, please use these to do your magic with. I can even put a camera move. I can put my camera on a gimbal in my kitchen and say, I don't want to use your stupid AI camera moves. I've got a camera move. I'm going to stay here, and then I'm pushing, and then I'm going to go around the actor. Even though what I've shot is in my kitchen, it will just take the camera move and do exactly what I want. So my biggest concern with AI is the laziness, which I think Nat is kind of referring to, is that we are tired of the lazy AI, where people are just saying, hey, do this for me. But if I had every single actor cast, got each one of them shot properly photographically, had a director do camera moves in it that were repeatable, I think you could probably bridge the divide.
Yeah. Culture, I know you've got something to add on that, but I do want to do a follow-up to Paul. Paul, I feel myself conflicted. I don't know if you do. You are a huge fan of technology. I know the things that you've been involved in your life, and I love technology, and I always want to be on the cutting edge, but I don't want to do stuff that eradicates the meaning of being human. Like I'm not with these technologists who think that we can just completely replicate, the human conscious experience. I'm not sure that's the case. I'd love to debate them on it. But I think this is one of our first tests is What are we going to do with this technology? Are we going to just say goodbye all actors or not? And maybe this is the path forward to live performances in theater being the thing that everybody wants to see because suddenly there's a premium.
Yeah, live is the purest form of art. The big being on as many productions as I have, I know if I've written something, half the time I'm hoping that the actor saves the crap I wrote. And you've got serendipity when you're doing a live, when you're shooting something with real human beings, real cameramen, real dolly operators, real crane operators that you will never get in. You're just never going to get it in AI.
Right.
An actor will come up with a moment, cough in the middle of a line, trip on something. Yeah. And you go, oh my gosh, that's the clip. You're never going to get that in AI.
There's an improvisation that's magic. This is magic. Yeah. Culture Nat, I'll give you all the final word on this one. And Nat, I want to thank you because I love that you give us things to bounce off of on the AI because I tend to be left to my own devices. I am more optimistic and I appreciate because we need the dialogue on this about the dangers of it. And I think too often the Silicon Valley people who are pursuing this are not getting that pushback, and it's causing them not to understand the way the public is responding to this either.
Well, and I might be a bit too pessimistic as well sometimes, just because I find not as much pushback as usual. But I do talk to younger people and people younger than me, and I'm not that young anymore, but I do see a general public pushback here in Mexico, for example, but also when I was over in Canada, and the younger people don't really like it as much as I see older people like it, for example, which is very interesting when I talk about AI with others and the impact of it. But on the whole authenticity thing, or the coughing in the middle of a scene, for example, and keeping that in, and being able to just catch a random moment that you couldn't tell, you'd have to tell the AI to do. I do think the effort aspect of it and the fact that it takes effort to make a movie and it takes craft and skill, that would be completely removed with AI. And you can't really fake it because unless you're bringing up a crop of new people that have never really been interested in movies, most people nowadays would notice. And I think there's already, again, as we were mentioning, the backlash from younger generations that have been growing up with this since they were little almost now.
Culture, can we agree on one thing though?
Okay.
Unless Pixar changes, Pixar's cooked next year.
Oh, yeah, bean mouth animation is probably the most ridiculous thing ever.
Cooked.
Yeah. And look, and a lot of that is because they've relied so heavily on the CalArts style that is infinitely repeatable, and AI, it takes no soul to recreate that. So it's not like a hand-drawn animation, which my friend Mr. Daniel Alpine out there probably not super excited that we're positive about AI, which I agree with him. We shouldn't be. But I'm gonna dive into something I think that we need not forget, which is oftentimes when a story is presented from AI, as Paul was talking about just a few moments ago, it's just cliches. It's previous tropes. It's a mishmash of regurgitated slop, and that's not storytelling. Humans still tell stories. We've had life experiences, and we know how to create, a moral structure that will lead people to a conclusion. And I had the great honor of hanging out with Nat and Guy on their show talking about this in a different context. And I just
one of the best, by the way. Great conversation.
Amazing. Talk about inspired questions by the interviewers. So you guys really were great. But
thank you.
Look, what that ultimately leads to is stories without any kind of inventiveness. There's no originality. There's something new is not learned and no growth is attained. And that's my fear with AI is you're not having substantial growth. The serendipity that comes out of the live performance when you're filming actors doing whatever it is they're doing, you aren't going to get the nuance that was conveyed in that moment because something didn't go exactly right and somebody covered for it and somebody reacted to it. And it's the reactions where I think the machine isn't going to be able to compete. The machine is going to have to be instructed on how the surrounding actors, the background actors, are going to have to react to the situation that's happening or falling around them. I mean, we've seen a lot of flat stuff already. Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania might have been the flattest film I've ever seen because they didn't set dress to, hide the fact that they were shooting in the volume. They have a digital flat experience behind the actors, and occasionally you drop in a green screen background so that they could be some kind of,
Now, wait a minute.
added later.
Wait a minute, Culture.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking us in a totally different direction, because if you're going to bring up stuff like Ant-Man and the Wasp, or you're going to bring up Acolyte or Agatha, you know what people are going to say?
What?
If that's what humans do, bring on the AI, baby.
Yeah, well, and that's true. But when it comes to this particular story, this is one of the exceptions that I find. This piece of art, which you can decide for yourself if it's art or not. I think that was a great point by Nat. But this particular piece of art could not have been created in any other way, in any other setting, in any other time, because this society that it's being presented isn't open. It's not the United States. This is not, something that you're allowed to have free speech. They created a free speech argument for the censors out there to show them, okay, this is we have to do this artificially because in a censored society, we can't deliver, some form of authenticity to this moment in time. And again, I add a lot of credit to the fact that this was done in a documentary style, even though it has a lot of dramatic license because it inserts a character in the form of a little boy with cerebral palsy who's witnessing all of this from his window. So it's, again, when this comes to the film festival, I'll try to get my hands on a copy of it. But the fact that it's going to a festival means it's being accepted, just like Martin Scorsese and Steven Spielberg are
going to find out
in AI companies. So.
We're going to find out. All eyes are on Tribeca, folks. We'll keep an eye on it. You tell us out there in the chat in the comments, what do you think about AI? Will you go see AI made movies? Do you think that might change over the next 3 or 4 years? And we'll see. Does it get boos? Does it get cheers at Tribeca? It's a big moment in the future of Hollywood forevermore.